Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. So, we'll start with the Aloha cards, and then we're going to move to the affirmators. We're just going to keep it simple today. Super simple. Super duper simple. So, I hope everyone's well today. Doing a-okay. All right. Set aside a day to volunteer with a community organization. Set aside a day to volunteer with a community organization. That's a good one. That's a really good one. The company I used to work for used to give us time off for that, like to go organize. So it was like paid volunteering, but it was still pretty cool. So, yeah, so we could go do nice things for people. Which we should do anyways, right? So anyways, let's get to the affirmators. I have no idea where everybody is, but that's all right. So, okay. We got a colorful card, which means I have to pull the other one. Oh my God, seriously, this could not be more spot on. So the surrender card came up next to the self-worth card. So we'll read the self-worth one first, and we'll read surrender, and then we'll talk about it, because the surrender ones are the bonus cards. So the idea that I had is whenever these come up, since they're kind of the bonus cards, I'd always pull the one after it. So, we can talk about it. And for some reason, they always seem to go together. But I'm not sure yet, so let's read it. Self-worth. Da, 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 da. Good morning, Muddy. I cast off all concerns about what people think of me. I know I'm a totally kick-ass person, and my kick-assness can never be diminished by rejection. So people can think what they think and feel what they feel. In the meantime, I'll just keep on knowing what I know without thinking about what they are thinking about what I already know, I think. Wow. Damn. That was a wild ride. Wow. Okay, so again, self-worth. Let's try this again, just a little bit slower. I cast off all concerns about what people think of me. I know I'm a totally kick-ass person, and my kick-assness, I would have said kick-assiness, can never be diminished by rejection. So people can think what they think and feel what they feel. In the meantime, I'll just keep on knowing what I know without thinking about what they are thinking about what I already know, I think. That's right. So I think with this, to sum this up, excuse me, to sum this up, what other people think of you is none of your business. And that includes what they might think about your self-worth. All right. Self-worth comes from in here, not from out here. All right. It doesn't come from the world. It doesn't come from anywhere else. It comes from how you feel about yourself. And if you don't feel great about yourself, your self-worth is going to struggle. And the reason we can't look to outside sources to build our self-worth is because what happens if this person that you trust just breaks your trust? So it's kind of like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden you feel rejected. So what it's trying to say here is, I know I'm totally kick-ass, a kick-ass person, and my kick-assness can never be diminished by rejection. Because when you have self-worth and you have self-love, it's everything. Now, if someone compliments you or someone says something nice to you or does something nice for you, of course it's going to help your self-worth, because you're like, wow. And you've brought these people in, and they're your people, right? They're the people who see you, who love you, who, will jump off bridges for you. Well, don't do that in real life, because that would be bad. But my point is that when it comes to our overall self-worth, it has to come from inside. It has to come from in here, in your heart, in your body, in your soul, in your mind. It has to start here too. So, surrender is the other card. Hear ye, hear ye. You are hereby being called to unclench your grip on any old thought patterns that are getting in your way. Surrender any ideas that make you feel like a victim of circumstance or which make your dream relationship seem like an impossibility. The mayor of reinvention has just arrived and has made the following decree. Limiting beliefs about yourself and your life are heretofore forthwith officially and indubitably declared for the birds. Did you get all that? I'll read it one more time. Hear ye, hear ye. You are hereby being called to unclench your grip on any old thought patterns that are getting in your way. Surrender any ideas that make you feel like a victim of circumstance or which make your dream relationship seem like an impossibility. The mayor of reinvention has just arrived and has made the following decree. Limiting beliefs, right? This is how they always stand, right? Limiting beliefs about yourself and your life are heretofore forthwith officially and indubitably declared for the birds. There you go. You heard it from me. You heard it from here. You heard it from the mayor of reinvention. So, how do these two cards go together? I love that they're together. They're perfect together. They're absolutely perfect together. I'm actually curious about what the next card is. Oh, now that's something totally different, but I got to shuffle again because I saw it. But anyways, all right, let's tie these together. Let's tie these together. All right, so self-worth and surrender. So surrender is a huge word, right? Because when, growing up, when we, in history class and all these things, when we hear surrender, we're thinking, oh, that means I have to give up. But in psychological terms, in even metaphysical terms, and even in, religious terms, surrendering isn't giving up and it's not giving in. It's giving yourself that space. You're surrendering to, how do I put this without it sounding the wrong way? We'll take healing, for example, right? A lot of it, this is not going to come out right. So I hope it might come out right, but I hope I say this the right way. When you're in healing, you have to surrender to your past, right? In order to heal it, which means you have to stop trying to fight it. You have to stop running away from it. Surrendering doesn't mean you're hiding under a rock or, jumping into the nearest dumpster in the alley to hide from it. It means you're stopping, you're turning around and going, all right, forgive my language, motherfucker, let's do this. You are finding the strength to face something that has chased you your entire life so that you can find that healing, so that you can, look at it and say, look, I see you. And we don't want to live there anymore. We don't want to be in this situation anymore. We don't want to sit here and just, live the same way over and over again, trying to figure out how to move forward when we're stuck in the past. So sometimes we have to surrender to the hardest thing ever in order to move through it and past it. Now, I hope that made sense because this is where the self-worth comes in. The hardest part about surrendering in healing is that, your self-worth, you may not have any. You may have very low self-esteem. You may have very low self-love, self-worth, self-respect, low everything in the self department, right? And when we stop to face everything behind us, there may be things in there that are going to challenge our self-worth. But here's the thing. You're not that person anymore. You are not your past. You are not the things that happened to you. You are a healed individual who's moving forward. Now, if you're just starting your healing journey, you're still not all those things. Did those things happen to you? Yes. Did bad things happen to you? Quite possibly. I don't know your story. But if it did, you are not those things. They may have shaped you. They may have bombed the hell out of you. But they don't have to be your path anymore because you deserve self-respect. You deserve self-worth. You deserve self-love. And you deserve to have a high self-esteem. You deserve to have the mayor of reinvention come in and help you, move through all these things because you deserve that. You absolutely deserve that. Good morning, Allie. So when we talk about surrender and self-worth, they really do go together. Surrendering is nothing more than saying, I don't want to put up with this anymore. I need help. I need to work on this. I need to do whatever it is I need to do to move forward. Oh, I'm getting that tickle in my throat, but I got to show you guys. I got this weekend. I'm so excited. Not your basic witch. I know. It's so cute. And yes, I love Cynthia Erivo, so Elphaba's my favorite. But I think she would be anyway, right? Because she's legit. She's like legit, all right? But also, you know, you can get stuff like that. It's cool. So anyways, anyway, okay. This is a little hard for me because, you know, this really does go right into healing. You know, it totally goes right into healing. And, you know, in a way, it's funny that I picked that cup up, right? Because in a way, if you've seen Wicked, whether it's the play, you read the book, well, I don't know about the book because I've never read the book and I know it's a little different than the play and the movie, but if you've, you know, seen the play or you've seen the first movie, the second one's coming out soon, yeah, okay, well, yeah, and Sammy, the movie is just a very elaborate play. You know, they filled in things, they put in things. As I did see the show once, and oh, it was a great show. It was a great show. I absolutely loved it. But it's just, you know, obviously they were able to do more with it because it's film. So, anyways, Elphaba struggled with self-worth because of, you know, the color of her skin, because of her father, who was actually not her real well, sorry. Well, no, they kind of show that at the beginning. Anyway, whatever. If I spoiled it, I apologize. But, well, the film came out last year. So, Wicked Part 1 came out last year. But the whole point is this. Elphaba struggled with who she is. She struggled with the fact that she is magical. Okay? She struggles with the fact that, yeah, that's what I heard too, that they did the movies closer to the book, but I've never read the book. So, I've been told to read the book, but I have not read the book. But, you know, it's probably one of those things that I'll read after, cause, you know, I don't want to spoil part 2. So anyways, you know, because I mean, if you really think about it, in stage productions, there's only so much you can put in unless you want to keep people there for like 8 hours. Or in this case, 4, 5, 6 hours. Because the first movie was like 2.5 hours. And I'm assuming the next one will probably be about 2.5, which brings us in about 5 hours, right? No one's sitting in a theater for 5 hours. You know, if it's good, what the hell? I sat in a theater once for 3 hours. I loved it. Plus, they had like 2, what do they call them, intervals? But yeah, it was great. It was great. And, you know, if it's really good, you don't notice how long you're there. You know? But, you know, hydrate appropriately so that you're not dying, all right, when you're watching the show. But anyways, that's a side note. But we're talking about surrender and self-worth. So, you know, we're talking about these two came up, surrender first, then self-worth. And, you know, using Elphaba as an example, she had to surrender to who she really was. And, you know, from the Wizard of Oz to whatever, you always see it as being like, oh, you know, the Wicked Witch of the West and her sister, the Wicked Witch of the East. And then what I liked about this book is it kind of gave it a new spin on it, right? On why she was the way she was. And when she stopped trying to conform to everybody around her, when she stopped trying to live the life that, when she stopped trying to live the life that everybody wanted her to live and she started being true to herself, she changed. Now, I don't know how the books go. I know how the play goes. I'm sure at some point, I mean, the show is called Wicked, right? But Wicked is perspective. And yeah, there are some wicked people in this world that do very, very, very bad things. But there's also good people in this world who do good things that people think are wicked because it doesn't align to them. So when we surrender, we had to, wow, Allie's son did the Harry Potter. So that would have been cool. The Harry Potters back to back to back. Not a big fan of J.K. Rowling anymore, but that's my own opinion. But I do love Harry Potter. I'm a Hufflepuff. But yeah, so yeah, you know, that's cool. That is really cool. Yeah, I'm all for it. My whole family, we did We did Lord of the Rings when the third one came out. Was that 2003? So like, wow, a long time ago. my dad my dad got a little tiny popcorn machine. He got a little tiny hot dog machine. And then we watched the first two movies, the long versions, the unedited or the extended editions. Then we as like 15 to 20 of us all went to the movie theater to watch this movie together. So it was a whole thing. And then the following year, to celebrate that, my dad threw another Lord of the Rings party and we watched all the films. Everybody got there at 8 o'clock. Everybody left about 9. Or 10, something like that. They left late, but I think, my dad's all like, at 8 a.m. we're starting because these are long movies. So yeah, we watched them all the way through. And, we did like a whole menu theme and it was a lot of fun. And, my parents' house isn't that big. The condo's not that big, but we had a lot of people. We had family over. Everyone just kind of plopped down anywhere on couches, chairs, the floor. And we just watched. So yeah, it is very possible, to just sit there. But, hell, when I saw the first Wicked last year with older sibling, we're like, wow, that didn't even feel like it was almost 3 hours. It just like that, right? I don't know. My finger snapping's not on point today. But anyways, going back to the self-worth and the surrender. When we surrender to what is chasing us, we finally take the upper hand. Now, I don't mean you're running through a forest, you got a bear chasing you, stop, all right? Although you probably shouldn't run anyway. They say make yourself look big. That's probably a really bad example. But anyways, I hope you never have to face any of those situations. But my point is, when it comes to healing, when it comes to your self-worth, sometimes we have to surrender to what scares us the most. Whatever it is, whatever trauma, whatever anger, whatever bad things happened before today, before this moment, right now, sometimes we have to surrender to it so we can heal it. Or I shouldn't say sometimes. Everybody I've known that has had to go through a healing process, that has made it through here, finally had to surrender to the things that tore them apart, the things that tore them down, the things that just broke them, in order to start rebuilding the life they want to create, the life they want, the life that they, deserve, the life we all deserve, to rebuild that self-worth, to show ourselves that we are important, that we do mean something. And it's scary to surrender. This is what shadow work basically is. Shadow work is surrendering to the darkness that's inside of you that is just festering. Not the, we live in, light needs dark, okay? There is a whole other thing. Light and dark cannot live without each other. So it's kind of like a gray area, right? But in healing and trauma, there is a darkness inside. And it just festers and it sits there. And occasionally it gets triggered or it gets angry and it lashes out. And then we have a term for that too. Hurt people, right? Hurt people, hurt people. And when that happens, you start creating scenarios that you can't backtrack from. You might be able to heal it, you can apologize for it, but as older sibling always says, you can't unring a bell. So it's still there. It's like the internet, right? No matter how hard people try to destroy things on the internet or try to remove it from the internet, someone's already got it. Someone's already screenshot it and it will live forever. Once it's out there, it's out there. But that doesn't mean we can't change. That doesn't mean we can't heal. That doesn't mean that we can't move forward and find who we really are. Surrendering isn't giving up. Surrendering isn't waving the white flag and saying, okay, you got me, put me in the shackles, throw me in the dungeon. No. When it comes to healing, surrender, like I said, is like, Snake Plissken in Escape from New York. You just turn around and go, all right, let's do this. Let's do this. And, for me, I just gave you some insight into how I had to handle, the feral floof when I started doing my shadow work. I had to go, that's exactly what I said. I'm like, all right, motherfucker, let's do this. And basically I'm talking to myself because I'm the one that I had to surrender to. This buried part of me, this hidden floof inside of me, is what I had to surrender to. And it was pretty feral when I surrendered. That little inner child, that inner floof, she was feral. She was straight up feral. But I realized she was every trigger I've ever had. She was every angry outburst I've ever had. Every, emotional cry I ever had when things, memories, and bad things reminded me of things that happened to me. They were all in her. They were all buried in this little cloud of a child. This little floof inside of me. And that's what I had to surrender to. Was it scary? Hell yeah. And the healing isn't scary. Having to move through what hurts us is what's scary. Having to move through the bad things that have happened to us is what's scary. But the reason we have to go back through these things, and I'm going to preface this next comment with, if you need professional help, get it. Because some of us have traumas that are not easy to go through alone, even with support. There's online therapy. There's, you can go directly to a person. But, I know it's still kind of stigmatized. There's a bunch of us out here in the mental health world really trying to destigmatize mental health and get people the help they need without people, ostracizing them or making fun of them. I had no problem telling people I was going to therapy. I'll share a story about that after. But when we start to face this darkness, it is not always easy. But we have to move through it in order to heal it. And we may have to move through it more than once. It may take several times. It may take a lot of times. But every time you move through that, you come back looking at it going, oh yeah, hey, remember how that used to trigger me? Or remember how that used to cause an angry outburst? Or that used to make me cry? And that doesn't mean that these things won't hurt you down the road. That doesn't mean that it won't trigger an emotional cry. But here's the thing. When you move through it, you learn tools. And the triggers become less scary. They become less oppressive. And you can look at it and go, yeah, you're just a little statue on a museum shelf now. But I dealt with you. That's the reward, right? You're looking at it going, I dealt with you. And I don't have to deal with you anymore because that's not who I am anymore. And really, it's not who we are, this angry, bitter, whatever person inside of us, the feral floof, the damaged person, the hurt person. It's not who we truly are. It's situations that are just burying us in all these emotions. And sometimes it's hard to breathe. Sometimes it's hard to rise from all that. And that's why sometimes we have to surrender to that in order to find our self-worth. Because we have to start removing all this stuff. We have to start unblocking that door that brings you to kind of, if you will, the promised land. And the promised land is the land where you are able to look back and you're able to say, you know what? I did this. I made it through this. I surrendered to this and I moved through. I pushed through. And the reward at the end is your self-worth, is your self-esteem, is your self-respect, your self-worth, your self-value. And, again, self-worth, because that's the card. But it's not always easy. Sometimes that self-worth will be tested. But I can't see who hearted that, but thank you. But sometimes that will be tested. And we have to just, wow, someone is loving this. I don't know who it is, but thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But it is true. And, you know, I still struggle with my self-worth from time to time, you know, and I'll get, I'll have, I'll have people going, really? Really? Are we doing this again? Because we need to not do this again. You just need to like yourself. And I get it. I get it. Because sometimes, you know, sometimes it's easier to live in bad patterns than it is to move into new ones, right? That's why we struggle to surrender. That's why we struggle to heal. Because we don't want to surrender to the past. We don't want to move through it. We don't want to look at it. Oh, it's my cousin. Thank you. Yeah, so, I love you. That was so cute. All the hearts going up the screen. But it's true. You know, and I'm not talking out of my ass here, guys. I had to go through therapy twice. All right. Well, actually, 2 really good therapies. I've been through therapy at least 4 times, but the first 2 were just, they felt like a joke to me. And I say that now, but knowing me, I probably just wasn't ready. But when I was, wow, it was helpful. And to be honest with you, when I was ready for therapy, I didn't want therapy. And that's exactly why I knew I needed it. Because I'm like, no, I can handle this. I got this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, then all of a sudden it's like, hi, angry outburst. And it's like, oh no, I need therapy. Because it's all coming to the head now. It's all coming to the head. And that's when I had to learn how to surrender. So remember, surrendering in healing is not giving up. It's saying, it's you standing your ground. It's you saying, look, you know what? I'm not dealing with this anymore. We need to heal this. And for some people, it can happen like that. If you're a procrastinator like me and you're very resistant to everything because change scares you, it's going to take a long time. So here's some helpful advice. Don't let change scare you. And if change does scare you, move through it anyways. Because I'm telling you, I often wonder, and I often throw myself under the bus wondering, what would I have been like if I would have taken less time to heal because I wasn't so afraid of what was behind door number 1. Because change scared me. Change still scares me, but now it's just kind of like, okay,